What's up, everybody? So we're back out in the shop, and today we're going to be taking this right here and turning it into this. This is the bevel jig that I use here and there. Definitely something that would help a lot of beginning knife makers in making clean, consistent bevels. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's jump into it, get it knocked out. So what I'm doing right here is just measuring the old bevel jig, because I want to scale this one down just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and go through, mark it, and mark the other side so that we can then go through and draw a line connecting those two marks. This doesn't have to be real precise because we're going to end up making it even later. And this is why I was saying that it really wasn't necessary to get real precise with drawing that line, because we're going to go and square everything off right here. And then we want to go ahead and square off the piece that the blade is going to be sitting on and the bottom of it. It's just important to get those nice and smooth. For one, stuff is going to be bolted to it. And I decided to go ahead and make this a little bit shorter so that it rested on my platen a little bit better. So you can see right here, that's why I wanted to make it smaller, because that's how much platen I have. We're just going to go ahead and make sure that it's even on the height all the way across. Okay, you can just smooth it out on the belt grinder and then check it one more time. Make sure everything's all square. Now we're going to go ahead and just smooth out and flatten the back side of this, because again, stuff is going to be bolted to it. So we just want to keep everything nice and square. This is the hardware we're going to be using. So these are all 1/4 inch hardware, and all of these match up. These are going to be the longer bolts that go through the bottom of it. These are going to be the shorter ones that go through the face of it. Again, the same size hardware, so that they can all utilize the same nuts, which are these right here. Just makes it real easy if it's all the same type of hardware. So we're going to go ahead and take this clear ruler, and we're going to measure in from the top 3/8 of an inch. And these measurements, y'all can kind of play with them. They don't have to be exact to what I did here. But I went in 3/8 of an inch, and this is the reason why I squared everything off, because I'm going to be measuring from these things. And then we're going to go in 1/2 an inch from the sides, and that's where we're going to get our center for our holes. And then we're going to go ahead and do a punch on the center there to make it easier for when we start drilling. Now it's time to go ahead and measure the holes for the ones that are going to go through the face of the plunge line jig. And what we're doing here is we're just going in 1 inch from the sides, and then we're going to go 3/4 of an inch down. So these are 1 inch by 3/4 of an inch. Go ahead, get that center punch on there. You do not need fancy tools for this. You can use a regular hand drill. You do not need a drill press to do these. I just happen to have a drill press. So what we're going to go ahead and do is put the hardware in on the face of it. And I did put a little locking washer in between the hardware just to make it a little bit to where I don't have to worry about it backing itself out, because these are not Teflon locking nuts. So that's why I went with that. Go ahead and put the hardware on the bottom. Again, we're using a locking washer, or a crush washer if you want to call it that. And then I'm making it to where the heads on these bolts are even, because you want to make sure that when we go to the next step that these are even straight across the top. To make it a little bit more comfortable, we're going to take this shrink tube for wiring and things like that and put it on the threaded part of the bolts that are going through the base of this jig. This is just for comfort, for when my hands are wet and things like that. We're going to put these on here and then go ahead, get the lighter and shrink them down. This is just a personal preference for me. Have little handles on it. And you can get this stuff from Harbor Freight. It's super cheap. There we go, our cool little handles. Sometimes you just got to get crafty with things that you have in your shop. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is mimic this right here, where I shaved the heads of these bolts to get the desired angle for my bevels. So you can see right there, they're just square. And you can do it just like that if you wanted to. This is just a step that I choose to do to make it to where it has a nice, comfortable feel and it doesn't have any chance to rock. So all I'm doing is just flattening them out on the belt grinder and getting the desired angle that I want. You can see right here, it's nice and smooth, doesn't bind on anything, has a good angle on it. This is just a piece of mild steel that I cut into the shape of a blade so that I can give y'all an actual visual of it being utilized. So there you go. That's how simple it is. Okay, so we got it knocked out, and I want to talk for a second and kind of reiterate why I made some of the decisions that I did when making the new one. So, the old one, I used it on my 2x48. The work rest was really low on the platen, so I had a lot of platen to work with, and my work rest was about 12 inches long. Now, the new work rest is only about 9 inches long, 8 to 9 inches long, and I've only got about that much platen over the work rest. So this one was a little bit too big for it. We scaled it down a little bit, went with a lower height here and a shorter length side to side so that it actually sat on that platen a lot better. I, of course, changed a few things on it. I did add in these little heat shrink tubes right here so that it was more comfortable in my hand when my hands are wet. But that's what we did there. And like I said, I just wanted to reiterate why I did a few different things with this versus the old one. I also want to say again, you do not need a bunch of tools to do this. You can do this with a real simple metal saw. You can do it with files. You can do it with a hand drill. You do not need a drill press, a belt grinder, a bandsaw, all those things. I just happen to have them, and it made my process of doing this easier. Do it with what you have. And the reason why I suggest you using this is because if you're just getting into knife making, one of the things you haven't learned yet is how these belts grab the steel, what they do whenever you're trying to do your bevels, and sometimes you'll get divots in your blade because you weren't expecting it to grab a little bit and it did, and then you chase that out and it ends up making your bevels off. Having one of these eliminates a lot of that until you get used to how your belts react with your steel, and learning that pressure and learning that sweeping motion, learning those different hand moves. This just makes it to where you can start off making good plunge lines, good bevels, and good transitions in your blades. So think about using one of these. But guys, that's the end of this one. Give this video a thumbs up if you can. Share this video or a video I've done in the past that might be your favorite. And if you haven't yet, bottom corner, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell so you get notified of whenever I actually use this thing. And guys, thank y'all for coming by. Thank y'all for checking this out. Y'all have an amazing day. I'll catch y'all next time.